I am a Kashmiri. I'm a scholar and anthropologist. I've done extensive research in Kashmir for the last 10 years. In fact, since 1947, Kashmir has had a significant number of military presence in civilian areas. From 1990 onwards, this military kind of basically spread out into civilian areas. They occupied all public spaces, and Kashmir effectively began to resemble like a military occupation. The civilian governments that have been there off and on have had very little say in the way Indian government, the central government in India, and the military leaders of India determine how so-called law and order has to be guaranteed, protected, and restored. Which means Kashmiris have been living effectively under a state of emergency. There is an Armed Force Special Powers Act in place still, which guarantees immunity to Indian soldiers from prosecution for human rights abuses. And the Indian military has used this law to the hilt. There are reports upon reports about abuses in Kashmir. More than 80,000 Kashmiri civilians have been killed in the conflict so far, a majority of them at the hands of Indian soldiers. There are close to 10,000 people who are forcibly disappeared, and there are thousands of Kashmiris who are incarcerated. There was a MSF report recently which suggested that probably close to 40% of Kashmir's population suffers one or another kind of post-traumatic stress disorder. That a majority of Kashmiris have in their lifetimes witnessed more than 7 traumatic events. So Kashmiris have been suffering a lot under the Indian military's jackboot. It is an intense life. It's very hard to live under such a degree of surveillance and violence that is carried out. You cannot move from one place to another without confronting an Indian soldier, without having to negotiate all the difficulties and obstacles that the Indian military puts in place. And you know very well how Indian government also uses curfews. And these are not simple curfews. These are 24/7 curfews where there are often shoot-at-sight orders to gag people, to repress people, to stymie protests, to imprison people, and to basically arbitrarily put people in jail on charges of disruption under the Public Safety Act. The Indian right wing has always seen Kashmir as part of some kind of an organic Hindu territoriality. They think of Kashmiri Muslims especially as somehow being invaders, somehow being foreigners who are living in Kashmir at the mercy of India, forgetting that Kashmir has had a much longer continuous history. Its people have had much longer political and cultural history than India itself. What this order now does is to make the Kashmiri presence in Kashmir much more precarious. India intends to, and this is what the ruling party's members have been openly claiming, that they want to flood Kashmir with non-Kashmiris, turn the demographics of the place, and by doing so alter the facts on ground, which would for them automatically change the nature of the Kashmir issue. This seems to be influenced by what is happening in Palestine, or what has happened in Palestine. So as some people have argued, that this is straight from the playbook of Israel, and very likely that's the case. Palestine, the Nakba happened in 1948, and the invasion of Kashmir and the annexation of Kashmir happened in 1947. And India's connections with Israel are well known. India, imports a lot of its weapons and surveillance technology from Israel, and of course, all of this is used in Kashmir primarily. And while India paid lip service to the Palestinian cause for a very long time, unfortunately, a lot of Palestinians also believed that India was doing it in good faith. But that's definitely not the case. People in Kashmir are saying that India wants to turn Kashmir into West Bank. These fears are very well founded because the immediate target of the BJP and RSS is to change the demography, to create settlements, to they already have the infrastructure in place in Kashmir. The way the roads and the train lines have been built, the amount of land that is under military occupation right now in Kashmir portends very badly for Kashmir. So the fears that Kashmiris have expressed for a very long time may unfortunately turn out to be true. Pakistan's role has been historically, it has said that we support the Kashmiri movement diplomatically and morally, but I think that Kashmiris have long expected Pakistan to do more. I know many Pakistanis do not like the word do more. Pakistan has been often asked to do more when and its leaders, its public sphere is wary of these things. And many times Kashmiris also realize that Pakistan, despite the fact that it may want to establish good relations with India, has been dragged continuously into conflict. But Pakistan has to realize that the regime that is in power in Delhi is not going to let them be. BJP's vision is of Akhand Bharat, which means that in their vision, the territorial vision of India, they include not only Pakistan but also Afghanistan. And if nothing, they would like Pakistan to be a vassal state, much like they enforce in places like Maldives and stuff like that. I mean, it's unlikely to happen in Pakistan. These are both, nuclear power states, nuclear weapons states. And ideally, Kashmiris would not want to see Pakistan or India going to war because in such a scenario, it's the Kashmiris who suffer the most. It is their territory, it's their land, their nation, their country over which the bombs fall. But I think that what Kashmiris would like is much more vigorous, solidarity coming from Pakistan. They want Pakistan to use whatever power they have in international fora to raise this issue. They must also reach out to sane-minded people in India, saner political constituencies in India, and basically make it clear that there is no peace possible. There is no riddance from fascism. There is no riddance from the Hindu right-wing fascism or even extremism, other forms of extremism in South Asia, without resolving Kashmir issue, without basically defeating the ideology of the Hindu right-wing. This is not an easy task. Pakistan should let Kashmiris take the lead. Pakistan has recently started doing that, which is a welcome step. It should tell the world that Pakistan does not have territorial ambitions on Kashmir, that Kashmir belongs to Kashmiris, and that's a message that the world understands. The world does not understand when some people in Pakistan say that Kashmir belongs to us or Kashmir is ours. People around the world, international community understands when Pakistan says Kashmir belongs to Kashmiris. I think that's a moral position to take, that's the correct political position to take. And many Kashmiris are aware that Pakistan is moving in the right direction on that.